Hey guys, it's Carrie. Welcome to my channel. Today's all about twine, and I'm using it in patriotic inspired home decor pieces to spruce up your home for the 4th of July. So grab a rocket pop, settle in, and let's just hop right into the projects. For my first project today, I'm using a splatter screen from the Dollar Tree. They have two different splatter screens there, and this is the one that has a knob in the center instead of a handle on the rim. Just press the screen firmly and it comes right out. Next, I'm wrapping the rim with twine. There's a couple different kinds of twine at Dollar Tree. The kind in the hardware section that comes in one bigger roll has less of those stringies in the jute twine, but today I'm using the more rustic kind that comes in a pack of 3 smaller rolls in the craft section. I found it easiest to wrap the twine loosely around the rim 4 to 6 times first, and then I tightened the wrap after that. And I just used hot glue every so often, maybe every 15 to 20 wraps. While I'm wrapping, I'll mention that today's video is part of the Twine It Up challenge hosted by Fanny at Creations by Favi and Jamie from the Crafty DIY Guy. I'll link both of their channels in the description box below, as well as the playlist for the challenge. Be sure to check out their channels and see what everyone comes up with. And then my son Tyler stopped by to show me the phone case he made using a balloon. He definitely got that creative gene and makes all sorts of fun stuff. Just a few more wraps and a little glue, and I was ready for the next part of the project. This part is optional, but I like to use a lighter to burn off all the stringies from the twine. The first few times I did this, I was hesitant, but don't worry, you're not going to be starting any fires. My original plan was to use twine for the star I'm creating in the middle here, but I ended up liking this red berry grapevine a little better. I just approximated a star shape and went to town. This was a super quick and easy project, even great for beginners, and since the garland is wired inside, I didn't even have to use any glue. And you know what that means, I can remove it at any point if my vision changes and I want to use the hoop for something else. I just love how this turned out, but I plan to use today's projects for a vignette together, so I'll save the reveal for the end and just hop into the next project. Now I know that stars are supposed to be like the easiest thing that you can freehand, but I'm never happy with the ones I come up with. There's always one wonky point that's smaller than the others. So I cheated a little and printed some perfect little stars out from online. I covered a box top with saran wrap and used T-pins at each of the points. Then I grabbed my large container of Mod Podge and poured about 3 ounces into a cup. Now this is where the project gets a little messy, so if you don't like goopy hands, you might want to sit this one out. But I have 2 boys and I'm used to messes, so I pressed on. I cut a long length of twine and dredged it through the Mod Podge, then strung it in the star shapes around the pins. Despite the mess, this is a very simple project, and I'd say you could even include the kids in this one and let them be the ones with the goopy hands. I just went around the star shape a few times with the twine. I did some with 3 layers and some with 2, and I think with the end products I actually liked the ones with 2 layers best. I let the Mod Podge dry overnight, and then it was time for the red, white, and blue paint. I used Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson for the red stars, the plaster color also by Waverly for the white stars, which I didn't film, and then I didn't have chalk paint in a blue color that I wanted, so I ended up using Sherwin-Williams latex wall paint in the color Navel. This took very little paint, so I just dabbed from the paint lids instead of wasting paint by pouring it into cups. And I was okay if some of the twine showed through, so I used my chippy brush that I normally use for dry brushing on this project. So I'm always curious what other people's 4th of July traditions are, so drop me a comment below and let me know how big it is in your neck of the woods. I had college roommates that said it was really no big deal for them growing up, but in our community, it's huge. Some say even bigger than Christmas. People set out chairs weeks ahead along the parade route and always come up with creative ways to cord them off. Then on the big day, there are a ton of block parties, and in recent years, it's even become a trend for people to rent golf carts to use to party hop all over town. We don't get to party hop because we're always hosting our own party, but I always think it looks fun. And then of course there's fireworks at dusk, and there's nothing better than sitting directly under them. It's an exhausting day, but some of the best memories I have from childhood are from July 4th. And more on that later. Now I'm wrapping each star with a coordinating color of embroidery floss. There's really no pattern that you need to follow. You can't really mess this up, but I found it easiest to follow a star pattern in the middle and then wrap each point from the center to the tip and then back to the middle in a crisscrossing pattern. My older brother's birthday is actually July 4th, and every year, without fail, my mother would share one of her favorite stories about me. I think it must have been my 3rd or 4th birthday. My birthday is July 24th, so all the 4th of July festivities were still fresh in my mind. They'd had a big party for me and all sorts of presents, but at the end of the night, I was upset. My mother hugged me and asked why I was sad, and I said it was because I didn't get fireworks for my birthday like Andy did. Apparently, in my little 4-year-old brain, I thought the fireworks were for my brother's birthday, not a national holiday. And oh yeah, I still love fireworks. For my next project, I grabbed my liquid starch. On the back, it has instructions for how much water to mix in for starching clothes, but for this project, I'm just using the full strength solution. Similar to the star project, I'm dredging the twine through the liquid starch. The starch is much thinner though and less messy than the Mod Podge, and it also cleans up more easily, so you don't have to skip this one. I'm making twine balls, so I used small water balloons as the base. And just in case you're wondering, no, do not fill them with water, just fill them with air. Just like with the stars, there's no rhyme or reason or pattern to follow. You really can't mess this up. Just look for areas that have bigger spaces and try to fill them. And I'm sorry that I'm off camera for a good part of the wrapping, but I think you can still get the idea despite my bad camera work. I'm still learning. I used a couple different materials. First the regular jute twine, then red and white baker's twine, and then I even tried pieces of a mop head from Dollar Tree. The thicker strings definitely worked a little better than the thin baker's twine. I think it's because they had more fabric to soak up the starch. I let them dry overnight, and then it was time for the fun part, popping the balloons. I figured out through trial and error that it was best to hold on to the knot when I poked the balloon with scissors to pop it. This way the balloon stayed in my hand and I didn't have to dig balloon pieces out from inside the ball. I ended up wrapping the twine balls with the same berry garland, and I think it looks really pretty. Next, I'm just doing a quick jar makeover using a Patriotic scarf from the Dollar Tree and some of the same baker's twine from the previous project. This is similar to the Farmhouse jars I did in a vase tutorial back in the spring, and this is a super versatile project, so you can use whatever fabric fits your decor. I cut the scarf down to size, leaving an extra inch in width and then about a centimeter at the top of the rim and an inch at the bottom, but of course this will depend on the size of your jar. I glued the fabric down to the side first. Where the fabric overlaps will be the back of the jar. Then I folded the fabric in at the bottom, starting at the back and working toward the front, gluing down as I went. It doesn't look perfect, but no one will see this in the end product. And finally, I just wrapped the twine around the rim of the jar about 4 times and tied it with a shoelace bow. And here they all are. I love how these turned out, and they look great together in a little vignette on my kitchen counter. I think these would also look really nice on a tiered tray and add the perfect amount of patriotic spirit to any room. Thanks for joining me today. If you found me from the Twine It Up playlist, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. It really helps me grow my channel so I can bring even more budget DIYs your way. This Sunday, I'll be back with another collaboration, the So You Think You Can Craft Challenge, which is all about tumbling blocks, and I'll be continuing with the patriotic themed projects. So I hope to see you there. See you next time. Bye.